9 countries hold the power to reshape the world in minutes. They possess nuclear weapons. These are not ordinary weapons, their destructive force is immense. A single nuclear bomb can destroy an entire city. It can kill hundreds of thousands of people instantly. The radiation it leaves behind can poison the land and water for generations. This power gives these 9 nations a unique and heavy responsibility. Their decisions affect the security of every person on this planet. Understanding who these countries are, what they possess, and how they think is essential for navigating the complex challenges of our time. This video will provide a clear look inside this exclusive group. This is a very small club. The 9 members are: the United States, Russia, the United Kingdom, France, China. These 5 are recognized as nuclear weapon states under the 1968 Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons. The other 4 members operate outside of this treaty: India, Pakistan, Israel, and North Korea. Each of these nations developed their weapons for different reasons. They each have different policies for their use. Their arsenals vary greatly in size and sophistication. The relationships between these countries are a web of alliances, rivalries, and deep-seated tensions. The risk of conflict, whether by accident or design, is always present. We will explore the details of each nation's nuclear capabilities. We will look at the size of their stockpiles. We will describe the types of systems they use to deliver these weapons: missiles launched from underground silos, bombs carried by stealth aircraft. We will also examine their nuclear doctrines. A doctrine is a country's stated policy on when and why it might use nuclear weapons. Some countries have promised never to be the first to use them. Others maintain a more ambiguous stance. This information is not just for experts. It is for every citizen who wants to understand the forces that shape global politics and international security. Finally, we will look at the future. The nuclear landscape is not static. It is constantly changing. New technologies are emerging that could make these weapons even more dangerous. Old arms control treaties that once provided stability are weakening. The world stands at a crossroads. One path leads to a new arms race, with more countries seeking these weapons and increasing the risk of war. Another path leads toward renewed diplomacy, stronger treaties, and a reduction in nuclear dangers. 5 countries laid the foundation of the nuclear club: the United States, the Soviet Union, the United Kingdom, France, China. They are often called the P5, the 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. They are also the only nations recognized as nuclear weapon states under the Non-Proliferation Treaty. The NPT, signed in 1968, was a grand bargain. The P5 agreed to pursue disarmament. In exchange, other countries agreed not to develop nuclear weapons. That created a formal 2-tier global nuclear order. The United States was the first to develop and use nuclear weapons. The Manhattan Project during World War II. It culminated in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. That event ushered in the nuclear age. For a few years, the US held a monopoly on this terrifying power. The Soviet Union, driven by espionage and massive scientific effort, successfully tested its first atomic bomb in 1949. That marked the beginning of the Cold War nuclear arms race. The 2 superpowers spent the next 4 decades building vast arsenals. The United Kingdom was the third to join the club. British scientists had contributed to the Manhattan Project. The UK conducted its first nuclear test in 1952. The goal was to maintain great power status and an independent deterrent. France followed a similar path. France pursued its own program to secure independence from the US and NATO command. France tested its first bomb in 1960. China was the last of the original 5 to develop nuclear weapons. Facing threats from both superpowers, Mao decided China needed the ultimate weapon. China conducted its first nuclear test in 1964. China's entry established a new center of power in Asia and altered strategic calculations. These 5 nations built the initial framework of nuclear deterrence, a dangerous but strangely stable system that defined the Cold War. The United Kingdom maintains the smallest nuclear arsenal among the original 5 nuclear powers. Its deterrent is entirely sea-based. This is a significant change from its past, when it also had nuclear-capable aircraft. Today, the UK's nuclear force consists of a fleet of 4 Vanguard-class ballistic missile submarines. The warheads on those missiles are designed and built independently in the United Kingdom, ensuring operational sovereignty. The core principle of the UK's posture is called continuous, at-sea deterrence, CASD. CASD means at least one nuclear-armed submarine is on patrol, hidden and ready at every moment. That creates a credible, continuous second strike capability. No adversary can be sure where the patrol submarine is, so they can't guarantee destroying the entire deterrent in a surprise attack. That uncertainty guarantees the UK could retaliate, deterring an attack in the first place. The UK is building the Dreadnought-class submarines to replace the Vanguard fleet and preserve CASD for decades. France maintains an independent deterrent, the force de frappe, or strike force. French policy is driven by strategic independence from the United States and NATO command. Like the UK, France's backbone is sea-based, 4 Triomphant-class ballistic missile submarines. Those submarines and their missiles are developed and produced in France. France also keeps at least one submarine at sea at all times to ensure survivability. Unlike the UK, France retained a second component, a squadron of Rafale fighter jets. The Rafale can deliver a medium-range air-launched cruise missile with a nuclear warhead, giving the president extra options. Both doctrines say nuclear weapons are a deterrent of last resort to defend vital national interests against state-level threats. Their forces aim not to match superpowers but to be large enough to inflict unacceptable damage on any aggressor. For decades, China maintained a relatively small nuclear arsenal and a doctrine of minimum deterrence. Its official policy has long been one of no first use, a pledge not to be the first to introduce nuclear weapons into a conflict. The primary goal of its force was simply to survive a first strike and be able to retaliate against an attacker's cities. This would ensure that no country would ever consider a nuclear attack on China to be a rational option. This posture was seen as stable and defensive. However, in recent years, China has embarked on a dramatic and rapid expansion and modernization of its nuclear forces, a shift that is reshaping the global strategic landscape. Satellite imagery has revealed the construction of hundreds of new missile silos in the western deserts of the country. These silos are expected to house new solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missiles, which can be launched more quickly than older liquid-fueled missiles. China is also expanding its fleet of ballistic missile submarines. It is developing a new generation of submarines that are quieter and carry longer-range missiles, enhancing the survivability and reach of its sea-based deterrent. This buildup suggests a move away from a minimal posture toward a larger and more robust force. The sophistication of China's arsenal is also increasing. It is deploying more missiles capable of carrying multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, MIR-VUVs. This technology allows a single missile to strike several different targets, making missile defenses much less effective. China is also a leader in the development of hypersonic weapons. These weapons travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound and can maneuver in flight, making them extremely difficult to track and intercept. The combination of more missiles, more warheads, and more advanced technology is significantly increasing the size, capability, and readiness of China's nuclear forces. This rapid growth has raised questions and concerns in Washington, Moscow, and other world capitals. Analysts are debating the reasons behind China's shift. Some believe China is seeking to achieve rough parity with the United States and Russia. Others suggest it is concerned about the survivability of its smaller force in the face of advanced U.S. missile defenses and precision strike capabilities. Whatever the reason, this buildup is creating a new dynamic. The world is moving from a bipolar nuclear competition during the Cold War to a more complex and potentially less stable tripolar competition involving the United States, Russia, and a much more powerful China. The nuclear dynamic in South Asia is one of the most volatile in the world. It is centered on the intense and long-standing rivalry between India and Pakistan. This rivalry is rooted in the violent partition of 1947, multiple wars, the unresolved dispute over the territory of Kashmir. India conducted its first peaceful nuclear explosion in 1974. In May 1998, it conducted a series of full-scale nuclear weapons tests. Just weeks later, Pakistan responded with its own tests, officially declaring itself a nuclear power. The tests brought nuclear competition out into the open, creating overt, mutual deterrence. India has developed a nascent nuclear triad, short and medium-range ballistic missiles, road-mobile launchers, Air Force aircraft capable of delivering nuclear bombs, progress on the sea-based leg, the domestically built ballistic missile submarine INS Arihant, India has adopted a no-first-use policy, pledged to use nuclear weapons only in retaliation. It maintains credible minimum deterrence, just enough for a devastating second strike. Pakistan's program was born from deep insecurity. Pakistani leaders believed nuclear weapons would guarantee survival against India's superior conventional forces. Pakistan's arsenal focuses on countering that imbalance. A wide range of ballistic missiles, ground-launched cruise missiles, air-launched cruise missiles, believed to have a rapidly growing warhead stockpile, working to develop a sea-based deterrent to complete its triad. Unlike India, Pakistan has not adopted no first use. It maintains a posture of full-spectrum deterrence. That includes short-range, lower-yield tactical nuclear weapons. Stated purpose: deter or defeat a large-scale Indian conventional invasion. The strategy is highly controversial. Short flight times and forward deployment risk early use in a conflict. A conventional border skirmish could quickly escalate into a nuclear exchange, making the region a persistent flashpoint for global concern. Two other nations, Israel and North Korea, possess nuclear weapons under very different circumstances. They represent the extremes of nuclear policy, one of deliberate silence and the other of defiant proclamation. Israel has long maintained a policy of nuclear ambiguity. It has never officially confirmed or denied possession. It has never conducted an overt nuclear test. Yet, experts and governments widely accept Israel has an undeclared sophisticated arsenal. The program likely began in the 1950s with French assistance. Israel's undeclared arsenal is estimated to include many warheads. It likely has its own version of a nuclear triad. Land-based ballistic missiles, the Jericho series in hardened sites, nuclear-capable fighter-bomber aircraft, German-built Dolphin-class submarines modified to carry nuclear-capable cruise missiles. The rationale for ambiguity is complex. It allows Israel a powerful deterrent against existential threats, and helps avoid provoking a regional arms race or international sanctions. North Korea, the DPRK, stands in stark contrast. It openly declared itself a nuclear weapon state. Its program directly challenges the non-proliferation regime. After withdrawing from the NPT in 2003, North Korea conducted multiple underground nuclear tests, each more powerful. It has developed a diverse, capable ballistic missile arsenal, short-range missiles that can hit South Korea and Japan. Intercontinental ballistic missiles theoretically capable of reaching the U.S. North Korea's leadership views the arsenal as the ultimate guarantee of survival. It believes the weapons deter attempts at regime change by the U.S. or allies. Exact stockpile size is unknown, but experts estimated in 2025 enough fissile material for dozens of warheads. Frequent missile tests and aggressive rhetoric create constant tension in Northeast Asia. Isolation and opaque decision-making make North Korea an unpredictable, dangerous nuclear actor. The United States possesses one of the two largest and most advanced nuclear arsenals in the world. As of 2025, its stockpile consists of thousands of nuclear warheads. These warheads are not all sitting in storage. A significant number are deployed and ready for use on short notice. The U.S. arsenal is structured around a concept known as the nuclear triad. This means its forces are diversified across three different types of delivery platforms. The triad is designed so the U.S. can retaliate even after a massive surprise attack. It ensures a credible, survivable deterrent, the bedrock of U.S. strategy for over 70 years. First leg, land-based ICBMs, housed in hardened underground silos across the American Midwest. Launchable with very little warning, reach targets almost anywhere in about 30 minutes. Second leg, nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines, SSBNs, the most survivable part of the triad. They patrol silently and undetected in the world's oceans, carrying long-range missiles. Several are at sea at any given time, providing a constant second strike capability. Third leg, the strategic bomber force. Long-range aircraft like the B-52 Stratofortress and the advanced B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. These planes can carry gravity bombs and air-launched cruise missiles. Unlike ballistic missiles, bombers can be recalled after launch. That recallability adds flexibility in a crisis. The U.S. also fields smaller tactical nuclear weapons deliverable by fighter jets. These are part of extended deterrence, promising to protect allies in Europe and in Asia under the U.S. nuclear umbrella. The United States is midway through a comprehensive, expensive modernization program, a multi-decade effort to replace or upgrade every triad component. New ICBMs, new ballistic missile submarines, and a new long-range bomber are under development or construction. Command, control, and communication systems managing these forces are also being updated. Official rationale: ensure the safety, security, and reliability of the aging arsenal. Critics say it fuels a new arms race, and signals that nuclear weapons will remain central to U.S. policy for the foreseeable future. The Russian Federation inherited the vast nuclear arsenal of the former Soviet Union. It remains the only country with a nuclear stockpile comparable in size to that of the United States. Together, these two nations possess roughly 90% of all nuclear weapons on Earth. For Russia, its nuclear forces are not just a tool of defense, they are a fundamental symbol of its status as a great power. In the post-Cold War era, as its conventional forces weakened, its nuclear arsenal provided a crucial backstop. It ensures Russia can deter any potential adversary, regardless of their conventional military superiority. Like the United States, Russia maintains a nuclear triad. Land. The land-based component has historically been the core. Russia deploys many ICBMs. Some are road mobile. That mobility makes them harder to find and target than fixed silos. Sea. A fleet of modern ballistic missile submarines. These submarines patrol in bastions near Russian territory, such as the Arctic. Air. Russia's air-based forces consist of long-range strategic bombers. These bombers can deliver nuclear-armed cruise missiles from safe distances outside enemy air defenses. In recent years, Russia has emphasized developing new and exotic types of nuclear weapons: hypersonic glide vehicles, nuclear-powered cruise missiles, long-range underwater drones. President Vladimir Putin has publicly announced these systems. The goal: defeat current or future missile defense systems and guarantee unacceptable retaliatory damage. Russia's nuclear doctrine has evolved since the end of the Cold War. Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in response to a nuclear attack. It also allows response to an attack with other weapons of mass destruction. It permits nuclear use if a conventional attack threatens the very existence of the Russian state. This policy, sometimes called escalate to de-escalate, worries Western analysts. They fear it could lower the threshold for nuclear use in a regional conflict, making a dangerous situation even more volatile. The world in 2025 faces a complex and perilous nuclear reality. The 9 nations of the nuclear club hold the fate of civilization in their hands. The old rules of the Cold War are fraying, and new dangers are emerging. Looking ahead, we can see 3 plausible but very different futures. The path we take will not be determined by technology alone. It will be determined by political will, diplomatic skill, and the choices made by leaders in these 9 capitals and around the globe. The first and perhaps most dangerous path is one of a continued arms race and growing instability. In this dark future, arms control treaties continue to collapse. The United States, Russia, and China engage in a full-blown, 3-way competition to build newer, faster, and more sophisticated weapons. The development of hypersonic missiles, advanced missile defenses, and cyber weapons makes strategic calculations more complex and crises more difficult to manage. Inspired by these major powers, other countries may decide they also need nuclear weapons for their security. This could lead to a cascade of proliferation in volatile regions like the Middle East and Northeast Asia. The risk of miscalculation, accident, or deliberate use of nuclear weapons would be higher than at any time since the Cuban Missile Crisis. A second, more hopeful path is one of renewed arms control and strategic stability. The United States, Russia, and China could begin a new strategic dialogue aiming to create transparency and establish rules of the road for their competition. They could pursue new treaties that limit not just the number of warheads, but also new types of destabilizing weapons. Other nuclear-armed states, like India and Pakistan, could agree to risk reduction measures. Such measures include creating secure communication hotlines and agreeing not to target each other's command centers. This path requires immense diplomatic effort, trust building, and a commitment to robust verification to ensure promises are kept. A third path focuses on regional stabilization. This approach recognizes that a single global solution may be out of reach. Instead, it concentrates on lowering the temperature in the world's most dangerous flashpoints. This could involve specific agreements in South Asia to prevent border crises from escalating. It could mean a new diplomatic framework to contain and eventually roll back North Korea's program. It might involve creating a nuclear weapon-free zone in the Middle East, a long-held but elusive goal. These regional efforts could serve as building blocks for broader global stability. They are practical, targeted steps to reduce the most immediate risks of nuclear conflict. The final choice between these paths has not yet been made. The decisions of the nuclear nine will affect every person on Earth. The survival of our shared world depends on their choosing wisdom over weaponry.